Welcome to the Funeral Nation Web Show, the best effing web show.
Welcome everybody to Funeral Nation episode number 25. I'm Ryan Thogmartin. That is Jeff, the Funeral Commander Harbison. And we're coming to you out of Ohio in the great state of Virginia. So thanks for tuning in. Our effing Nation followers, good Lord, we're amassing a bunch of you. And we love the engagement. We love the feedback. I'm super psyched about this episode, so I'm just going to shut up. Jeff, tell us what's coming up.
Wow, that was a big piece to start off with there. Hey, look, on today's show, about 20 minutes or so, we're going to have some news. It's going to be interesting. It's a little off-center. We're also going to have relevant commentary about the industry. Our guest today is going to share with us the latest in 3D technology, the spotlight on the funeral director coming from Philly, which is interesting. And our WTF is going to, I can only call it a shaggin' wagon. You know, we'll just see what happens after that. That's all I got. That's Lord.
Terrible. That's so terrible. All right, Jeff. Well, the biggest buzz this week, easily, hands down, was Nancy Reagan's funeral. The First Lady, national spotlight. Everybody in the country eyeballs on this funeral, and we'll just throw the picture up here. This is this image sent the entire funeral profession into a massive uproar. And Jeff, I'll let you address this because I've admittedly never placed a casket on a casket bearer. So you handle this one.
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that we don't know, right? We do have the picture. From what I understand in reading, that the casket was placed on the bier by the honor guard, right? And so there's some angles here. We don't know what type of casket bier. We don't know if that was a mistake or if that was on purpose. But the bottom line was, it just really appeared to be off for those of us in the Funeral Nation that know most of the time they're centered up. But bottom line is, I had friends and people actually showed the picture. I said, do you see anything wrong with this? And they're like, no, they didn't even notice. So hopefully we kind of got by with one.
Yeah.
But this is a lesson for anybody. I'm sure that detail was briefed on it afterwards, as well as the funeral directors. But it is what it is, and it's there. But Lord have mercy, there was a lot of talk about it. I mean, everybody's in a tizzy, I'm telling you.
It's all about the effing detail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They need to make an effing change on that casket on the beer, I'm telling you.
This week's Bug segment was brought to us by Disrupt Media. Disrupt Media is a social media agency serving the funeral profession and also the creators of the Disrupt You Show.
The you. Hey, look, our guest today is Pete Sari, the co-founder of Foreverance. So let's roll that tape. Pete, welcome to the Funeral Nation show. Hey, Pete, tell us a little bit about yourself and Foreverance, please.
Sure, I'd love to. You know, there's nothing I like to talk about more than myself. But Foreverance was founded in 2013. We're based in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. And as you probably know, we make individually designed 3D printed cremation urns. So just to give you a little bit of background on myself, I hate the term serial entrepreneur, but that is a little bit of who I am. So I have a marketing background and marketing and sales background. So to me, everything is a sales and marketing problem. But I've been involved. Foreverance is actually my fourth startup now. I've been involved with three others, one in healthcare, one in facility management services, and one in digital media. What is unique and special for me about Foreverance is in the past, I've always gotten involved with somebody who's very product-centric or operational business owner who needs help, making their business more customer-centric. And so I've always built out the sales and marketing side of businesses in the past, but Foreverance is the first time where I am sort of the product guy. So I was the one that came up with the product idea. And so Foreverance kind of has a special place in my heart as it relates back to kind of startups and new ventures and those types of things. So.
Awesome.
An opportunity for me.
Very cool. And so is the death care space something that you ever saw yourself getting into?
Never in a million years I see myself in the death care space. The first time it really hit home was one of my coworkers and I were driving to the Nashville NFDA from Minneapolis, and a friend of mine loaned me his beat up old SUV that we packed all of our trade show stuff into, and we're driving to the Nashville NFDA from Minneapolis. And all of a sudden, we kind of had one of those epiphany moments where we looked at each other like, what in the heck are we doing with a show in a beat up old SUV? So I'm happy to be in the space, though. I think it has all of the meaning and purpose that I always look for, an opportunity. And it's cool. I'm enjoying it.
Well, Foreverance is definitely a very unique effing brand in the funeral industry. So please share with us a little bit of how you came up with the product idea and the business concept.
Yeah. So I was consulting with a company called Next Technologies, which sells 3D printing systems. And so I got a pretty quick and a pretty good education on the things that 3D printing is and is not capable of. And so one day, in fact, it was June 23rd, I'm sitting at 2013, I'm sitting at my kitchen table reading a copy of Time Magazine, and there was an article in Time Magazine about the cremation space and cremation rates and people's sort of growing affinity towards cremation as the end of life choice. And the nature of the article was not just the growing cremation rates, but that high value cremation customers have sort of been ignored. You know, that the industry still sort of makes this false presumption that people who choose cremation are doing so for financial reasons and not for reasons of practicality or pragmatism. They think that cremation customers are cheap. And so the industry just did not provide high value products to that segment of its audience or its market. And so it was literally one of those organic kitchen table ideas where I'm sitting there thinking, hey, why not 3D printing to make something really unique and really personal and really custom for people? And did some research on whether that product existed in the space, found out that it didn't, went to a few ICCFA and NFDA shows to look around and kind of see if there's anything even remotely like it, and there wasn't. And so having an entrepreneurial and startup background, I sort of had the wherewithal and the funding to just start that business myself. So that's how Forever came to be.
Interesting. So you're sitting at the table and you decided to take a bite into the funeral industry, right?
You could say that, yeah.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, just part of my, hey, what are you going to do? All right, so I met you the first time in Minneapolis, if you remember, at the Kingdom Convention. Since those early days and launching, catch us up on some funeral industry launch that you've done, some good things that's happened with your company.
Yep. Well, so we have been attending other CANA, ICCFA, and FDA shows, and those always prove to be very beneficial for us. But I think what has really sort of catapulted us into the high rate of growth that we've been experiencing is all of the amazing PR traction that we've gotten. So I think, it's one of those things where the idea of death and dying is sort of inherently interesting to people. And then you combine that with another emerging growth category like 3D printing, and you sort of smush those two things together, and you have a pretty sort of inherently interesting story, and one that allows us to get a lot of PR pickup. So we've been on ABC News, CBS News, Fox News. I just did an interview with Playboy magazine. We've been on Huffington Post. So we get very regular PR traction, and we get a lot of interest as a result of.
Right, and now you finally landed on Funeral Nation. I know you've been waiting to get there. So you've hit the big time here, buddy.
Well, Pete, one of the pieces that you recently did got a lot of national coverage and big press. Why don't you share a little bit about that piece with us?
Sure. So we are on our third sort of celebrity rock star piece that we've done in the last 2 years. And the piece that you're referring to, there's a band called Motorhead, and the founder of that band is a gentleman named Lemmy Kilmister, who was known for his sort of hard living lifestyle. But he passed away on December 28th And on December 29th, we got a call from his manager, who probably saw, or actually not probably, he saw some of the information. We did a piece for Devo a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago. Anyway, so he reaches out and said, you know, I saw some of the information on you guys, and we want to do something really special for Lemmy. But the interesting thing about that project was they didn't know what they wanted. So a lot of times projects come to us with a very specific, you know, here's this car, or here's this space shuttle, and this is what we want. The cool thing about the Motorhead and Lemmy project was they didn't know what they wanted. They just knew that they wanted something special. So they gave us complete freedom of design there, and we were able to come up with the idea of the cavalry hat resting on a base. And he liked the project, or he liked the design concept so much. In one of the design conversations we had, he actually invited me to the ceremony out in Hollywood.
Wow.
He said, hey, would you like to kind of hand deliver the piece to the family at the ceremony in Hollywood? And I said, absolutely. So went out to it's a place called Forest Lawn Cemetery in Hollywood, which is a place where a lot of celebrities are buried. Michael Jackson, I know, is one. I think Paul Walker is another. But anyway, went to the ceremony there, and it was just hilarious, you know, just kind of, and I hate to use the term hilarious as it relates to a funeral, but it was amazing walking in and having, you know, Ozzy Osbourne walking by me on one side and Gene Simmons walking by me on another side. We sat like 2 rows behind Dee Snider. Slash was there. I'm missing a bunch of people, but amazing where it's amazing to me where the funeral industry sort of ends up taking you. You know, I never thought it'd be a segue to sort of connect with these celebrities and these famous people, but it was quite an experience. I'll tell you that, especially the after party.
I bet. You know, that was a great piece I remember seeing when you came it out. And speaking of which, you guys are really, I mean, you define personalization and reflecting a life lived. Tell us a couple of your favorite pieces that you have.
Sure. I guess one of my favorite pieces is we had a family reach out who the father, the patriarch of the family, was a design engineer for NASA. Mm-hmm. And so the family reached out and said, boy, we can't think of a more appropriate and meaningful way to remember Dad than to create an urn for him in the shape of the space shuttle that he was involved in designing. And they said, this is actually another cool part of the thing. They said, the only thing is we as the kids have decided that this is what we want to do, but we're only going to do it if Dad agrees. And Dad was still alive, 94-year-old guy. And so they said, we're going to do this project if Dad agrees that this is appropriate and meaningful for him. And so they went back and talked to Dad, and they got back to me a couple days later, and they said, Dad loves it, and we're going to do this for him. And they sent us this amazing testimonial video of them presenting the piece to Dad. So they're presenting the space shuttle to their father, and he starts crying, and he's talking about how this was his life for many years. And he said one really cool thing that I keep sharing with funeral directors. He said, I can't wait to show this to my friends at the senior living community. And so I always ask funeral directors, I'm like, when was the last time somebody said that about an urn? Right? Yeah. Because the answer is probably never. I don't think anyone has ever said, boy, I can't wait to show my blue vase to my friends. You know, people at the senior living community. So I think it's an interesting story about how our product can really help elevate that conversation into real matters of legacy instead of an ordinary sort of death care product. The other really cool story that we've had recently is a family reached out and inquired about an urn or a memorial in the shape of a White Castle hamburger. So we kind of had a similar reaction to that project where we thought, boy, we really want to understand the story behind it. And it's just a good kind of 4th grade lesson about never judge a book by its cover, because the woman told us the story of why she wanted this urn. And it was for her sister, who just recently passed away from brain cancer. And she said, that her sister went through a very long and arduous and difficult round of chemotherapy. And in between each round of chemotherapy, the sisters would steal away from the hospital and go have a White Castle hamburger because that was like the one thing she said that made her feel normal. And she said the doctors told her that she wasn't supposed to do it, but they were going to do it anyway. It was like their little sisterly act of defiance. And so the woman that reached out was almost kind of sheepish about the idea of having such a product as a memorial. But she just said, you know what, it's important to me, and it's meaningful, and it's symbolic. And I just love the idea of having this for my sister. And, so as cool as it is to do rock star pieces, I think the message there is that all of us have a cool story to tell. And I think for Urns, it gives people the ability to tell the stories of their life in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
That's really cool.
That's great. The stories are wonderful. So, wrapping this up, you're going to be at the upcoming ICCFA convention. What's your booth number, and share with our FNers about the Foreverance promotion?
Sure. So our booth number is 358, and we're still working through a promotion that we're going to communicate out to the audience here shortly. But in essence, we're soliciting design ideas from funeral directors. So we want funeral directors to come up with effing cool design ideas that we're going to award $500 to the winner of the coolest urn design idea. And we're also going to make available to them a limited run of 20 sort of serialized urns that they will have exclusivity on for a window of time. So the details are still being worked through, but I think the idea that we want to illustrate is that cool ideas are everywhere, and we always sort of give design credit to our audience, whether it's funeral directors or whether it's families. These cool ideas just come to us on a regular basis. So as much as we help people execute on the ideas, our audience is really responsible for the cool ideas that we have.
Yeah, I think cool is something we've been talking a lot today about. Speaking of which, Ryan and I are going to be in New Orleans and doing some live shots and stuff. And we have a promotion for Funeral Nation for our folks here. Pete, your company, Foreverance, is one of our sponsors. So we're going to have a logo of Ryan and I, right? And it's going to be in your booth. And when folks come by, you're going to have to bark them in saying, hey, you need a picture with Pete here with the effing. And what are they going to get, Ryan? I think you're wearing it, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going to get a really sweet Funeral Nation t-shirt and possibly some other cool effing swag.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's going to be exciting for everybody out there. Pete, we are grateful that, number one, you came on with us, and number two, you're a sponsor. And we're really excited to hang out down there. And we'll be putting out some more in the next couple of weeks of special ads and info of where to find the effing logo and how that they can win some swag.
Wonderful. Well, I'm looking forward to the program, and I love the work that you guys do. I love, I don't know if irreverent is the right word, but I love the approach that you guys take to this industry. It's an industry that needs a little shake up now and then, and I think you guys are doing a great job. So I'm happy to be on and thrilled to be working with you guys.
They need some effing help. All right, brother. Take care. I'll see you out there, man.
Thanks. Take care, guys.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Wow. That was an outstanding interview segment, and it's exciting what they're doing. And the segment was brought to us by our sponsor, Memory Care by AP Laser, who will also be at ICCFA, and their booth will have our logo in it. So you want to make sure and stop by them. How about roll the promo, Ryan?
This week's FN interview segment is brought to you by Memory Care, powered by AP Laser. Memory Care is a life story etched forever. To find out more, visit aplaser.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Memory Care by AP Laser, for sponsoring the Funeral Nation show. All right, Jeff, this gets into that power moment of the episode where we get to shine a spotlight on a funeral director that is changing their community and doing great things. So tell us who our effing spotlight shines on today.
As you know, we like to share positive stories and shine a spotlight on funeral directors and professionals that are making a difference, not only in the community, but to our profession. Today, Kashana Pritchard is an intern funeral director at Terry Funeral Home located in West Philadelphia. I want to give a little shout out to my friend Greg Burrell, who is the owner, and he's also the chair of the Pennsylvania State Funeral Board. So anyway, interesting story that everything changed for Kashana when she answered a phone call about her own father's death. Planning her own father's funeral was like, for many, her first experience with such an event. However, she had a not so positive, actually a very negative experience with that funeral provider. And she knew she wanted to help families not to experience that. So I keep saying experience, but she wanted people to have a positive experience as they remember the lives of the loved ones they lost and honor the lives lived. She actually left behind 13 years of working in the healthcare benefits administration and outsourcing industry all the way on the West Coast in Los Angeles. And so Kashana embarked on a journey to start a whole new career as a licensed funeral director. I believe that she will finish up her things that she needs to do, the testing in school in July. And we just wanted to shine on how people get into this industry as well. It's just an important story. It's doing good things. This lady came into our industry because she cared enough to change significantly her life so others will have a positive experience. So, Kashana, thank you. Spotlight's on you. I'm going to give you a little salute there.
Absolutely. I'm glad that's the type of funeral directors that are out there. Finding those stories are great. So, Jeff, who's the spotlight on the funeral director segment brought to us by?
Hey, we have a new sponsor here. It's Foreverance, the unique 3D memorial tribute artist. They're going to be at ICCFA booth 358 with the sign. Got to get a photo. We're going to talk a lot about that. How about roll their promo, Ryan?
This episode of Funeral Nation was brought to you by Foreverance.com. The most important stories are the stories of our lives. Foreverance helps individuals and families tell their amazing stories through unique memorial urns and personal tributes. And then, Foreverance.com.
That was a great spotlight segment, Jeff. Thank you again to Foreverance for sponsoring the effing show. And now it's time to... I don't know about today's WTF segment. It's time to roll into where we show a humorous look at our profession, lighten the mood a little bit. But I don't even know what we can say about this. But our WTF segment's brought to us by Save My Ink Forever. So Jeff, tell me about the Shaggin Wagon.
You know, I saw this and I was almost speechless, which is impossible for me, as you well know. And
Yeah.
I looked at this and I kept looking at it. And, you know, it obviously a hearse has got that Landau side on it, which makes it really nice. But is this something new for eHarmony? You know,
Oh
maybe
my
for,
gosh.
yeah. You know, I'm telling you, whoever the guy is driving this sucker, and this was a live shot. Down the highway. Whoever's doing this, he's dead on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dead on it. And I don't. I pray to the good Lord Jesus this guy's not in the funeral profession, and I highly doubt that he is. I think he's a
Me
hearse
too,
guy.
because I feel like Larry the Cable Guy. Lord, forgive me for even showing this thing up here, but I had to.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
Hey, who sponsored this wonderful What the Funeral segment?
This WTF segment is brought to us by Save My Ink Forever, and let's roll that promo.
This week's WTF is brought to you by Save My Ink Forever. To learn more about Save My Ink Forever's innovative process, email them at funeral@savemyink.tattoo. Save My Ink Forever. Tattoos offer a lifetime of memories.
All right, Jeff. This wraps up episode 25. We are moving on to 26. What can we look forward to next week?
Hey, you know what? We just keep rolling the hits. Next week is going to be a huge strategic alliance announcement in the funeral industry. We'll have a new spotlight on a funeral director segment as well as a fresh What the Funeral. Now, additionally, we're going to start rolling some ICCFA promotions that you'll see on Facebook for swag. So stay tuned and engage.
That's right. We're giving away some effing swag, and we're really coming together with the people who sponsor this show to do some cool things at ICCFA that we're super psyched about. So don't forget to follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check out our website, funeralnation.tv, and make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because we're going to be putting out other content throughout the weeks to come on our YouTube channel and potentially doing some live streaming at ICCFA through YouTube. So make sure you subscribe below. It's a little red button. Just hit it. Subscribe. I think that's it for this episode, Jeff.
I do too. I got a little cigar left, so I'll stay here in the room. And the old libation's a little low, but look,
did you finish that glass?
This is the end. It's 25 episodes. Thank you, Funeral Nation.
That's right.
Stay tuned. And from over here in the command post out here.